In the modern day, pigeons have gained a terrible reputation. Most people view them as silly birds that only exist to infest city streets and spread disease. Some people even go so far as to call them rats with wings. However, several aspects of this reputation may not be rooted in fact. Pigeons are capable of amazing things that many people are unaware of. Here are 10 of the most fascinating facts about pigeons. How old are pigeons? Pigeons have lived alongside man for thousands of years, with the first images of pigeons being found by archaeologists in Mesopotamia, modern Iraq, and dating back to 3000 BC. It was the Sumerians in Mesopotamia that first started to breed white doves from the wild pigeon that we see in our towns and cities today, and this undoubtedly accounts, certainly in part, for the amazing variety of colors that are commonly found in the average flock of urban pigeons. To ancient peoples, a white pigeon would have seemed miraculous, and this explains why the bird was widely worshipped and considered to be sacred. Throughout human history, the pigeon has adopted many roles, ranging from symbols of gods and goddesses through to sacrificial victims, messengers, pets, food, and even war heroes. The pigeon as a war hero. In modern times, the pigeon has been used to great effect during wartime. In both the First and Second World Wars, the pigeon saved hundreds of thousands of human lives by carrying messages across enemy lines. Pigeons were carried on ships and convoys, and in the event of a U-boat attack, a messenger pigeon was released with details of the location of the sinking ship. In many cases, this led to survivors being rescued and lives saved. In the First World War, mobile pigeon lofts were set up behind the trenches, from which pigeons often had to fly through enemy fire and poison gas to get their messages home. The birds also played a vital role in intelligence gathering and were used extensively behind enemy lines, where the survival rate was only 10%. In the Second World War, pigeons were used less due to advances in telecommunications, but the birds still relayed invaluable information back to the Allies about the German V-1 and V-2 rocket sites on the other side of the English Channel. The pigeon as a messenger. The earliest large-scale communication network using pigeons as messengers was established in Syria and Persia around the 5th century BC. Much later, in the 12th century AD, the city of Baghdad and all the main towns and cities in Syria and Egypt were linked by messages carried by pigeons. This was the sole source of communication. In Roman times, the pigeon was used to carry results of sporting events, such as the Olympic Games. And this is why white doves are released at the start of the Olympic Games today. In England, prior to the days of telegraphs, pigeons were often taken to football matches and released to carry home the results of the game. Their use as a messenger in wartime resulted in many pigeons being awarded honors by both the British and French governments. Incredibly, the last pigeon post service was abandoned in India in 2004, with the birds being retired to live out the rest of their days in peace. Why do pigeons bob their heads? The pigeon has side-mounted eyes, unlike humans and owls, which have forward-facing eyes. As pigeons have monocular vision rather than binocular vision, they bob their heads for depth of perception. The pigeon's eyes function much better with stationary images, and therefore, as the pigeon takes a step forward, the head is temporarily left behind. The next step jerks the head forward again, and so on. This allows the bird to correctly orient itself. The religious significance of the pigeon. Many religious groups, including Muslims, Hindus, and Sikhs, feed pigeons for religious reasons. Many older Sikhs feed pigeons ceremoniously to honor the high priest and warrior Guru Gobind Singh, who was a known friend of the pigeon, or rock dove. Some Sikhs feed pigeons because they believe that when they're reincarnated, they will never go hungry if they've fed pigeons in their previous life. Other religious groups in India believe that when a person dies, his or her soul assumes the form of a bird, normally a pigeon, and therefore, by feeding pigeons and other birds, they're caring for the souls of their departed ancestors. Pigeons are big business. We normally think of the pigeon as being an unwelcome guest in our towns and cities, but most of us are unaware that racing pigeons can be worth huge sums of money. One racing pigeon recently sold for a staggering $132,517. The 3-year-old bird was a champion racer, beating 21,000 other pigeons in one long-distance race. For this reason, he was bought by a British company that breeds racing pigeons for stud. One very happy pigeon. The previous record price for a racing pigeon was $73,800. How do pigeons navigate? There are many theories about how pigeons manage to return home when released hundreds of miles from their loft. A champion racing pigeon can be released 400 to 600 miles away from its home and still return within the day. This amazing feat does not just apply to racing or homing pigeons. All pigeons have the ability to return to their roost. A 10-year study carried out by Oxford University concluded that pigeons use roads and motorways to navigate, in some cases even changing directions at motorway junctions. Other theories include navigation by use of the Earth's magnetic field, visual clues such as landmarks, the sun, and even infrasounds, low-frequency seismic waves. Whatever the truth, this unique ability makes the pigeon a very special bird. Pigeons as lifesavers. Although the pigeon is one of the most intelligent of all the bird species, man has found limited uses for the birds other than for the purposes of sport, food, and as a message carrier. A team of Navy researchers, however, has found that pigeons can be trained to save human lives at sea with high success rates. Project Sea Hunt has trained a number of pigeons to identify red or yellow life jackets when floating in the water. The pigeons were not only found to be more reliable than humans, but they were also many times quicker when it came to spotting survivors from a capsized or sinking boat. The pigeon can see color in the same way that humans do, but they can also see ultraviolet, a part of the spectrum that humans cannot see, and this is one of the reasons they're so well adapted to life-saving. Pigeons in the news. One of the world's most famous news agencies, Reuters, started its European business by using trained homing pigeons. The service was started in 1850, with 45 pigeons carrying the latest news and stock prices from Aachen in Germany to Brussels in Belgium. Although a telegraph service between the two countries existed, numerous gaps in the transmission lines made communication difficult and slow. The birds traveled the 76 miles in a record-breaking 2 hours, beating the railway by 4 hours. Famous people and pigeons. The humble pigeon has attracted some very famous fans over the last few thousand years, ranging from royalty to rock and roll singers and actors through to fashion designers. One of the most famous royals is Queen Elizabeth of England, who has lofts and pigeon keepers at her estate in Sandringham, Norfolk. Elvis Presley had a soft spot for pigeons, and Mike Tyson is also an enthusiastic pigeon keeper. Even Maurizio Gucci, the internationally renowned fashion designer, is a keen pigeon fancier, spending a reputed $10,000 on one American pigeon. So, these were 10 of the most fascinating facts about pigeons. Do you know any other fact about these amazing birds? Let us know in the comments. And if you like this video, then subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when a new video comes out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.